We'll be using 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 pound of ground minced beef. You can use both ground beef or pork. You will be using 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon paprika, 1 cup of chopped onions, and I'm using 2/3 of chopped onions, a whole onion, or 1 head of garlic, and we'll also be using 2.5 tablespoons of uh, tomato puree. As you can see over here, I'm chopping up the garlic because it needs to be well minced. It doesn't have to be too minced, but well is good. I'm also cutting it in two, and then I'm just cutting it vertical, and then I'm cutting it into smaller pieces. Moving on. Now we're going to the garlic. An easy way to, as you can see, I'm trying to, you know, separate the garlic cloves. It's gonna be around, I guess, 10 garlic cloves out of that garlic head, and total, if you have just minced garlic, just use 1 tablespoon, which is gonna work perfectly fine. Here I crash the garlics using all those extra muscles, because when you crash them like that with your hand, using the knife and just applying the strength of your palm, you're gonna crash it, and it's gonna be very easy to remove the skin. You can actually remove it with your fingers, but I was gonna be extra cool over there removing it with my big knife. Cool girl right there, you know? Alright, yeah, this is how you're gonna be peeling the garlic. And that's a total handful of garlic cloves that I will be smashing with the garlic smasher, or whatever you call it, I guess. It's gonna be a total of 1 tablespoon of smashed garlic, and then I'm using 2 tomatoes, fresh whole tomatoes. That's I'm just gonna chop into kind of bite-sized pieces, but first I remove the stem because it's green, and you know, I'm Italian. I'm trying to show I'm Italian right there. So yeah, I'm removing the stem, and then I'm just gonna cut it in like 3 lengthwise pieces vertically, or 4, or a few more, and then I just got a 3 on the other side, and just a few slice pieces, because it doesn't really matter. You don't have to cut it that small, because eventually it's gonna kind of melt away in the sauce. Now we're gonna start cooking the sauce, which is gonna start with 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You know, be a little bit generous with it, because it's, you never know wrong with a little bit extra oil. I'm just kidding, but if you want to use less, it's totally fine, because you're gonna put the beef in there, and it's gonna be, oh, oops, I'm using another tablespoon. I was feeling very generous that day. All right, we go ahead, and first of all, after you heat up the olive oil, you add the garlic and you saute it for around 30 seconds. You know, after it started heating up and it's becoming kind of transparent, you add the ground beef. And after you add the ground beef, you just move it on a little bit, and you add the spices, all 3, which is black pepper, paprika, and salt, 1 teaspoon of each one of them equally. This is gonna give it a good spice, and the paprika is gonna make it a bit spicy. And if you don't want to be spicy, just, you know, add just a half teaspoon of paprika. It won't hurt. And now you're gonna move around the meat for like 1 minute or so, until the beef has turned brown. As you can see, I'm just trying to move it around here and there, just sauteing. So the beef is gonna take out all its juices and oils and fats, which is alright, because, you know, it's sauce bolognese, and you want it to be delicious with a little bit fat is always right. You know, can be healthy another day. So as you can see, the beef has become brown and light brown and good color. So now we'll be adding the tomato puree. The tomato puree is around 2.5 tablespoons. So that's what we're adding. You want to saute the tomato puree with the beef before you add any water, so the sourness of it being in the conservative jar, you know, will go away, and it will make it so much easier to eat it later. And it's gonna be super delicious, of course. Duh. So here I'm just fasting forward because it did take like 2 minutes for me to saute that. And then what I'm showing you here is that you need to have a bowl next to your pot, because if you're gonna put the wooden spoon or whatever you're using for, you know, um, moving the meat, it's gonna, get hot when you put it on the pot. And yeah, I forgot what a pot is. You put it on the pot, and then you just make sure you put it on the, it's gonna get hot and you're gonna burn your hand. And yeah, that's just a fire hazard. Now after sauteing the tomato puree, I'm just adding the tomato and the garlic, and I will also saute it with the meat and the tomato puree for around 1 or 2 minutes until it's, incorporated, and you feel the taste, like the smelling. This smells freaking damn delicious. Just smells delicious. So that's what I'm doing right now. And at this time, if you would like to add any basil leaf, usually I would add bay leaves. Yes, I would add 2 bay leaves. Here I'm adding 1 cup of water, and we'll actually add another cup of water for that. Now I'm taking the heat down to low medium heat and move it around a little bit, so stir it around and cover it with a lock, the pot thing. Yeah, I didn't find the specific right one for my pot, so I just used that one. So yeah, just let it cook or for 20 to 30 minutes by itself, and just check it every 10 minutes. At the meantime, I just put the hot water, to boil water, for my pasta in a big bowl, as you can see right there. And for my pasta, I use some salt. It's perfect timing to salt your pasta. Okay, I used a lot of salt. And I will put 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil so it wouldn't stick together, because pasta for some reason just want to stick together. And that's what we're using for this. I'm just gonna use penne pasta because I think it's delicious to add it with that one. And that's what we're doing. Now just let it boil. Here you can see is my sauce. I'm stirring it around after 10 minutes, making sure it's not sticking to the bottom, and I'm just increasing the heat a little bit, but just letting it, bubble around. And I think at that time I just removed the lock of it, and I just let it bubble and let it steam away some of the water for it to be thicker later on. So after 15 minutes you just remove it, and then after 30 minutes it should look like this. The oil has come up a little bit, so when the oil comes up a little bit on the top, it's done, and it's thick enough, and it smells delicious. Obviously it's gonna smell delicious. And now the visual doesn't really look as good as I was hoping for, but I promise you it's delicious. Taking a fork and trying this. I'm not adding any cheese, anything on it. But you could. Oh. This is so good. Just a bit spicy because of the paprika. Good sauce. If you want thicker sauce, just add some extra tomato puree. It's delicious. I hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure you try it at home.